from Colorado Rising Action. Michael, welcome to Rest Reason, but what the heck happened here in Colorado, man?
Hey, guys, it's good to be on with you. It was not a good night here on Tuesday for Republicans, for sure. A little bit better news with the ballot issues, obviously, but, there's definitely a big shift here, and we're going to have to deal with it coming up.
Hey, Michael, really quick. Isn't there a huge difference between the ballot issues and the election in that there was no R next to the ballot issues?
Well, that's true. I mean, it's straight policies on the ballot issues. It's, two tax increases that went down by a significant margin. It was the setbacks, which would have basically banned energy development here. It wasn't as, it's not political, but, it has a long-term impact on our state. And so I was happy to see those outcomes. But, once the legislature starts, you had a clean sweep by the Democrats and both the House, the Senate, Governor's Mansion, Secretary of State, AG. They knocked off Kaufman. I mean, everything went their way. But, yeah, the ballot issues were the one bright spot.
Yeah, but, Michael, I'm of the opinion that it's a temporary bright spot because I feel like the Dems now are just going to come in and do all of this stuff legislatively. I mean, yeah, Polis said he was against a 2,500-foot setback like in Prop 112, but he's all for a 2,000-foot setback. I mean, come on. I mean, that's going to destroy oil and gas just like 112 would have.
Yeah, I think you're going to see, and they already have indications on this. They start talking about a compromise or something like that. With the big majority that they got in the state house, it could be 41-24 at the end of this. You're going to see some crazy bills come up to, Governor Polis's desk. And I think you're right. The first thing, might be the 2,000-foot setback, and we'll see how that plays out. But I think, it's a short-term victory on energy if that happens. Tabor, we know they're going to try to go around it, circumvent it, and try to find fees and enterprises and everything else. The Second Amendment, I mean, they already said they're going to do a red flag bill, which I bet will be even worse than the one last year. It's going to be kind of a free-for-all down there, and groups like ours have to point out, when they're going around Tabor and try to do as much as we can to get people ready for, future elections. It's going to have consequences for sure.
Well, Michael, let's talk about the future, okay? Because first of all, Jared Polis, if you had asked the average voter, what is it going to cost to do the things he's promising, they had no idea. It didn't matter how many ads Walker Stapleton ran showing that. The fact is the average voter had absolutely no idea how much this stuff was going to cost. So let's say that Polis actually gets in and actually tries to put through a number of the unbelievably expensive things that he wanted. And, he hurts oil and gas, which is going to be devastating to the economy and job creation. And they actually do some of these things. How do you think that's going to affect them in 2020 and beyond?
Well, I think negatively if conservatives and Republicans can take advantage of it. I mean, I think the problem that you see is, on one hand, yes, Jared Polis didn't have to answer for how he was going to pay for anything. It was all, promises without how much that would cost or how he would do it. I think the other side of it, though, is in order to take advantage of any swing back when somebody overreaches, you have to have a positive message. You have to talk about why conservative principles are better for people. And I think that's where Republicans need to focus in on, or what stories, what kind of message is going to be positive that people can latch on to say, if I'm a young person, now I understand why, smaller government or lower taxes is going to help me in the future. We have to talk about opportunity and how we want more opportunity for all Coloradans. And I think, we have to have that positive message side, and it's not just going to be, well, we don't like these people, and so we're going to throw them out and go with somebody else. I think that we really have to spend the next few years building up the infrastructure. The left did a great job of coming up with media organizations and grassroots and think tanks and everything else to get them ready for this position. We need to start building that and building that positive message. So
basically, we can't just go into the next game counting on them losing. We have to play to win.
Yeah, I think absolutely. I think that's what that has shown. And, we're going to have a big race in 2020 with Cory Gardner. Obviously, there's a presidential race that year. And redistricting is going to come, and it's going to still be a competitive state, but we can't just play defense. We can't just criticize the other side, which there's plenty to criticize. we have to say why our, solutions are better. And I think, somebody like Ronald Reagan did this great. He was a hopeful person who talked about potential in the future. And I don't see as much of that talk happening right now.
No, and it's imperative that we talk like that. Guys, I'm really pessimistic. I have never been this pessimistic. I mean, not only do they have, the legislature, they have the state house, the state senate, and the governor's mansion, but now they have the attorney general's office. Mm-hmm. And so that means even when the wackadoodles down there pass unconstitutional bills that go against the Colorado Constitution, there will be no challenge from the AG's office. Zero, zip, nada. And this could be literally 2 years worth of hell. And I wonder how long it'll take the state to recover, if ever. Because here's the other problem. You've got a whole bunch of young people that have moved into this state. They voted over 60% for the Dems. Are they even going to pay attention until next go around? Are they even going to see what's happening? I'm really fearful of that.
I think that's a good point. I think that's where people like you and me and everybody else have to point those things out. I mean, we have the number one economy in the country right now. If that starts falling for reasons that they're implementing bad policies, people should know about that. I think they will feel it, but I think in the meantime, we have to educate people and have these conversations. I think your point about the AG is spot on. I was really hoping that George Brockler got in there because I thought he was a really good candidate and would, step up to anything that would be unconstitutional. We're going to see how this all plays out, but a lot of this stuff, even if it goes to the courts don't normally, come out our way on things. And so I think there is a reason, I think there's plenty to be pessimistic about, but there's only, one option if we want to, actually change things in the future, and that's being positive. I came from Illinois, and we're nowhere near that yet. And so it's easier for me to be, a little bit more positive to say, look, this will swing back towards us if we take advantage of it, if we build up our infrastructure, if we, point out these contrasts, because we do have a lot of positive things going in Colorado, and we want to keep those things going and hope that, the legislature doesn't get too crazy here come January.
Yeah, Cal, Michael, I hope you're right. But I look at State Senator Tim Neville's district. It's a state Senate district. And the Dems threw $6 million at that district. Yeah. Where is our side? Where's the money on our side? Where are we? Are we going to come around and start throwing that kind of money around? I don't know. Because it still takes money to win elections.
Yeah, we got outspent for sure. I think the difference, too, is the money that comes in for Republicans comes in very late, right? The last 2 months, 3 months. In this district, Tim Neville's district, the Republicans did get outspent, but there's significant money still coming in for Walker Stapleton for the state Senate, but it's all coming in late. I think that's the infrastructure talk that we're, having here is how do we take the $20 million or $25 million that did come in for Republicans and spread that out earlier, where it's a 2-year process where we're doing this constantly, because that's what the left does so well. They have a big jump at the end, but they invest all the time in getting their message out, voter contact, voter registration, all the things that we're falling behind on. And so I hope that donors double down and say, we need to build this long term. Yeah,
they basically started on Wednesday, if not Tuesday night. Yep. They started for 2020. There's no question about it. And we take a break. I don't know. It gets to be very, very frustrating, but once again, I hope you're right. I hope we can get the message out there. I hope we can change hearts and minds. The only thing that the positive light is like you mentioned, the initiatives got voted down. All the tax increases got voted down by the same people that voted in the Dems. Right. So if they start to see the pinch on their wallet, if they start to see their property values go down, maybe that will wake them up. I guess that's all we can hope for. But you sure would hate to see our economy have to suffer to wake people up.
Yeah, I think that's right. I think the one positive thing is they're going to try to get around paper and do fees and do different stuff, and that will hurt us. But in terms of, income tax structure, that's not going to change. It's not going to go from 4 to 8 and they're going to get away with it. They have to still go through the Tabor process. And so I think, that was what I was worried about with Amendment 73, is if you're doubling the taxes for, wealthy people, increasing everybody's property tax, you're going to have a really big hit on the economy. I'm hoping that, the Tabor can hold for long enough for us to get back into, at least a balance here in Colorado. And so there's still a lot of positive things. I mean, this is what you have to do. The week, the election happens and it's disappointing. You have to find the positives, start working. If they started working on Wednesday, then we got to start working right now too. And there'll be an opportunity there again.
Alrighty, Michael, if people want to help you out at Colorado Rising Action, where do they go?
ColoradoRisingAction.org, and then we're on Twitter and Facebook and everywhere else. We'll be watching this stuff, holding people accountable, especially once session starts. So would love to have people help us out with that.
Alrighty, Michael, fantastic. Really appreciate you. Keep up the good fight.
Thanks, guys.